are we at the bottom, or is it, or are we seeing Showtime say fuck boxing, and then maybe NBC picks it up, or we, where are we?
I mean,
Where's the
I don't
bottom?
know, but I mean, I don't know, but here's the thing: when everybody's scraping to survive in their own TV deal, nobody's looking for the good of the sport 10 years from now.
Gotcha.
So we don't have and we don't have a commissioner. We don't have one leader. We don't have one guy, and we don't have agreement among the separate entities to do what you need to do to elevate the sport. So I mean, you know what? I'm not going to believe we're going away. But have we bottomed out yet? Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's scary.
You know, maybe not. Maybe not. But you know what? Like, you know, we got some good fights coming in the fall. The things are, at least if you're a fan, you know, I'm not getting into whether you have to pay or not, because one way or the other, you always pay. But at least, you know, I think there are some better fights the rest of the year, and I'm hoping that people realize that we, you know, we're looking at the numbers, which aren't pretty. The numbers in this pandemic for boxing and lately have not been pretty. But looking at what's going on, I'm hoping that maybe the powers that be right now, the people that got the budgets, you know, are going to see we really got to put our best foot forward. And, you know, some of those fights that are coming up this fall, like, look, you know, I've seen a lot of bitching and moaning about $75 and the price and the shit this weekend.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's a real good card. I mean, you know,
it is a good card.
You know, both Charlos are in real fights. There's a couple other good undercard fights that at least should be entertaining, that are title fights. I got to tell you, I think that in the Derevinchenko fight, I think the outcome is very much in doubt. I think Sergey is really live to win the fight, particularly if the judging is good. If he doesn't get caught, if Charlo doesn't catch him, and that fight's in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round, you know, beware, because if that fight goes a distance, I can really see you know, Sergey pulling it out. You know, Rosario, the other dude can punch, but I don't think he's as good as Mel. I think the other fight's a little bit more, in my mind, a little bit more clear to me. You know, that if you know, I'm not saying the guy's strong, but he doesn't have the same experience as Mel, and he doesn't have the total package of boxing ability that Jamel has. But I'm looking forward to the card. And you know what, man? I haven't seen a really good boxing card. Well, I mean, like a really good that I really cared about. There have been some decent fights in the pandemic, but I haven't seen anything I really cared about that was really good. So if it's $75, it's $75. I'm buying it, and I would think that, you know, the real boxing fans that know good boxing are probably going to do the same thing.
Absolutely. I actually have it. I too, I bought it. And when you look at this fight, I'm talking about Jason Rosario, Jamel Charlo, I was thinking in my head, maybe Rosario was in his Michael Jordan phase of his career, you know, coming off of J-Rock and having to go on the road, be outclassed for a couple of rounds and ultimately get the knockdown. So I was thinking that maybe Rosario was just in that phase of his career where he's going to go off and win 2, 3, maybe 4 in a row.
You know, man, he came in as an unknown commodity.
Sure.
But I'm always worried about these unknown guys. See, guys that have the reputation and they're unknown, but like the people that do know the only thing they can do is punch. Those guys are always dangerous, because if you can punch, you always got. If you're unknown, you could be better than people think. And I think that's exactly the situation with Rosario. He could punch like a fucking mule, and he prove it fight by fight that each time that he's better than people think. I still don't rate him the same way I rate Jamel, but would I be shocked if he knocked Jamel down? Would I be shocked if he hurt Jamel? I wouldn't be shocked. So it's intriguing. And look, man, I like those kind of matchups when you got to box a puncher against the puncher, because guys that punch just bring another dimension, you know?
Now, what happens next? Have the fans woken up and realize, like, do you think fans have woken up and be like, we can literally demand what we want, because they can't put on these big fights like Anthony Joshua versus whoever, Tyson Fury versus Wilder without the fans. So do you think in this pandemic that fans have said, you know what, my dollar does matter?
You know what? Not enough. Not yet. I see that goes into the question you asked about, have we bottomed out yet? And I said, maybe not. It's a matter of maybe we haven't bottomed out yet, but also maybe fans haven't figured out yet the power they do have. And I think right now what worries me a little bit, and you know, man, people think I'm negative. I ain't negative. I want to see things get better. So I'm realistic, you know. And what worries me a little bit now is we got certain kind of the hardcore boxing fan that'll watch any fight, even if it's dog shit.
Like me.
Right? But those guys are going to watch everything. Yeah. And they tend to be a little bit less selective, in my view. And because they're such fans, they just want to see boxing.
Sure.
And I don't think what's worrying me right now is a lot of the fans that aren't quite as hardcore just seem at the moment that they care less. And we better make them care again quick.
Right. And how's your promotion company?
And by the way,
go ahead.
I mean, I got a lot of talent, man. I got a lot of talent, but I got no illusions. I mean, you know, I got it rougher than some people. I don't have a fucking DAZN deal. I don't have Fox and Showtime, basically exclusive to me, and I don't have ESPN. But I do have good relations. Like, you know, even the motherfuckers out there that don't like me know I'm a good boxer. I'm an honorable guy, and my deals, you know, I live up to my deals. So I could do business with anybody. So that's at least that gives me some, consolation. And I got a really good stable of fighters. I got Charles Conwell fighting in a week on Showbox against that undefeated kid, Wendy Toussaint, that Star Boxing promotes. Yeah, Charles Conwell, the U.S. Olympian.
Yep.
I mean, the three best fighters in the Olympics last time were Teofimo, Conwell, and Shakur. And I don't think Conwell's on any different level than the other two. I don't. But Teofimo brings a whole I know how good Shakur is, but Teofimo brings that whole other dimension of his fire and knockout shit. And Teofimo, to me, if he can get past Lomachenko, that kid could be a superstar because he got a lot of intangibles going for him. So but Conwell's on that same level of talent with those other two guys, and he hasn't, he got derailed a little bit with the horrible, tragic, death of Patrick Day in one of his fights, and he hasn't had the same platform. Even though he's been on TV a lot already. He hasn't had quite the same platforms that Teofimo and Shakur have had with regularity at TV. But he's about to fight on Showtime against an undefeated kid in October. And then we have a deal in place for him to fight another, top 54-pounder in December on that new Ring City series.
Sure.
That's going to be on NBC Sportsnet.
If I may ask, what happened with your alliance with PBC and Al Haymon?
Man, like everyone thinks Al and I hate each other and we got all the shit. And then people say, well, I was disloyal by setting up a meeting for Deontay. Disloyal? Fuck that. I wasn't disloyal, man. I set up, my job is to see what's out there. So that's what I did. And I understand that there's, look, Al and I have been friendly. Like, Al's been a friend of mine for 20-something years. I mean, and we work together, but sometimes guys can like each other, respect each other, and not work together. And Al is a micromanager. Al wants complete control. Like, that's how Al operates. I'm not a good controlled subject. You know what I mean? That's just not who I am. And I think it just ran its course. But look, we did a lot of cool things together. I don't regret for 1 second my alliance with the PBC for years. I don't regret it for 1 second, and I don't hate on the PBC now. I don't. You never see me doing that, and you never hear it from me. And I got no hate for Al because we're not working together anymore. If it was the right if there was the right situation or opportunity, do I think Al would do business with me? I know he would. But it probably is mutually beneficial, frankly, that we're not doing as much stuff together. Just because, like, I'm very used to being my own man, and I'm not as good as being sort of like a gun for hire kind of thing, where, like, you don't make any of the real decisions. And I got tremendous respect for Al. He is as smart as anybody in the fucking business, and frankly, he's as smart as anybody I've ever dealt with or known. I mean, Al is a brilliant guy, and I still got a lot of respect for him even though obviously we don't do as much business together or aren't as close as we may have been.
Short